When did you first encounter this concern of musculoskeletal injuries in patients that you were treating with shot? And can you give case examples?
Sure. It actually started very, very early. You understand when I started work on this in residency over 35 years ago, I hate to admit, uh, no laughter. Um, the truth is, nobody was really involved in this area at all. I could find a few urologists who out of compassion would give shots to older men for sexual problems. As the one great physician, a surgeon, and told me, he said, Jeff, let me be honest with you. We had a question in residency at a Q&A, what could you do for sexual problems, ED, whatever, impotence? You give 2 to 400 milligrams IM injection, every month, and see if that works next. He said, that is the sum total of my training. He said, it's atrocious. I'm glad you're interested in this area. I remember asking him, do you get labs? He said, I know I should theoretically, but I have no idea what I would do with them. I don't know when I would do it. We have no training whatsoever in this area. And so the only people that were really being treated in those days generally, and that's kind of where I started getting some experience and training, was older men, much like in the fracture study. They had a lot of medical problems. Some of them were quite frail. And so very early on, we started treating younger men too, but these were the people we treated at first. Um, and we started noticing that they're getting more active, which was great. I mean, we encourage that. There's all kinds of recommendations. We know that depreciating muscle mass is associated with worse outcomes in people as they age, and for quality of life and independence, etc. So, and it was really helpful also, obviously, in helping them succeed and losing weight. So we were excited about that. Often their mates, family were excited about it. However, we very soon started having people report concerns about this, sometimes through phone calls to the staff. Um, One case that I remember early on was a woman who'd been very, very happy with all kinds of changes about sex and everything else, and the fact that he was no longer a lump on the couch and a couch potato. He was getting out and doing more, and much more helpful around the house. But she was yelling at him while she had me on the phone. I'm not sure what she thought I was going to do, but he was up in a tree with a chainsaw, cutting. Now, he'd not been on treatment much, so he's still debilitated, and yet this is what he's doing. And she assured me this was not his usual behavior for years. He just didn't do this. We have other cases where we have young men start training like they're training for the Colts, even though the Colts haven't called, okay? And they would often go back to whatever they had stopped when they were in shape and fit and start with that regimen. And they would get all kinds of injuries. Rotator cuff was common, bicep ruptures, for example, though we've had hamstring issues, Achilles ruptures, you name it. A lot of issues with knee injuries, cartilage and ligamentous, both. And this went on and took many forms. Uh, One I call Love on the Kitchen Table. No, I'm sorry. The one I actually would suggest is actually more perhaps meaningful is Love on the Coffee Table. Apparently, they were saying goodbye at the door, and he was feeling so vigorous, he decided to lift her up, whatever, didn't quite make it, and they went back over onto the coffee table, which shattered. Um, I had people out. The one case I call the rototiller rodeo, because his wife called me again, called the staff because he hadn't used a rototiller for years. Hadn't attempted something like that. Again, he's early in treatment, so he's still pretty deconditioned, but he's feeling great, and he's out using a rototiller, and she thinks he's going to kill himself. And frankly, he was not a person, at least at that point in his physical conditioning, should have been even trying to do this.